What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today, the head dragon itself, man. Shout out to the Dragon Riders. For those of you who are new and don't know why we call it the Dragon or the Dragon Riders, any of that, that's just kind of a joke that's turned serious, at least on this channel. It's kind of caught on, I think. A couple people seem to like it, you know, and I say it's caught on. I mean, I doubt that you hear anybody else calling it that in crypto, but you know, earlier in my videos, I said, you know, if you chase the dragon, you're likely going to get burned. I saw someone else say something on Ethan Galsted's channel. They like commented the dragon or whatever, and I saw that it was on another channel, and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe we should just call this thing the dragon, because it is a dragon, man. It like took flight. It soared from prices below $100 at ground level, soared in the blink of an eye in a scorching tear all the way up to $330. I mean, this thing is a beast, man. And that's just a wing flutter. Where this thing's really going to go is it's going to go, you know, if we go from top to bottom. I always start my videos off so bearishly these days, but this is why I talk about Bitcoin Cash every day, is because I really do think that we have a chance of going somewhere in this range. And yes, this blue line is at 53,000. And yes, this yellow line is at 13,000. And yes, I think we could go in between these areas very likely by the end of 2025, by the time that the bull market is over. Do I think we get to 50,000? No. Do I think we could get above 20,000? I think we have a chance to. Certainly above 13,000. And from here, you can see why I call it the dragon, right? Why we have adopted the term Dragon Riders. Because, man, you better saddle up. This thing is going to go, man. It's going to go from the ground up into the stratosphere before you even know it. Right now, though, this dragon is breathing a little bit of fire. We're going to do some shorter term analysis. There is something I want to point out, actually, in the longer term stuff. I want to go over the monthly and the weekly because it's something I noticed a little different than the day-to-day stuff. It's not completely different, but a little bit. We did reject the 60, which is the bullish area of control. This is the bullish control zone. Arguably, though, you know, we don't have anything else to compare it to in Bitcoin Cash's history. Any of these peaks here, you can see that this is a higher peak than these, but we have like higher peaks up here in price, but a lower peak in price here. This is arguably hidden bearish divergence, but we are on the monthly. This, you know, I would say that we need at least another month to confirm that. So let's just see if that's true. And even if that is true, even if this is hidden bearish divergence, that doesn't mean that we're going to go lower than this low here. But with that in mind, let's look at the weekly now. Let's look at the weekly. The main thing I think that's significant beyond the hidden bearish divergence thing, which might not even be valid, because here's your peaks here too, right? And you're above that. Well, those peaks were down here, so I mean, who knows? I guess it just depends on how you want to look at it. To a certain degree, we are hot on the RSI, right? This is the second highest peak that Bitcoin Cash has ever had on its monthly basis. Highest one was up there, at least as far as like the historical data goes, which on a monthly basis, again, is really not that much. You know, yes, it goes all the way back to 2017. Yes, that gives it OG status in crypto, but even then, I mean, Bitcoin itself is still a new chart, you guys, like, and that goes all the way back to 2009, 2010. So, looking at this thing on the weekly, really getting into it now, I want to address something that a few of you have pointed out, and it's a very good point, but I want to present an idea here, okay? If you go back in Bitcoin Cash's history, the thought that a few of you have brought up to me, and it's a good point, honestly, is that any time that we've had a move up, where we've had a top, whatever, when we move down, it's very quick. It's within 3 weeks, right? Top to low here, 3 weeks later, 43%. Top to low here, 44% in 2 weeks. I mean, actually 1 week. The top was that week, so the very following week. This one, it only took 1 week, 43 weeks, or 43%, I'm sorry. Top to bottom here, yes, the low went all the way here. It took a lot more time to form that low, but the first week afterwards, we dropped 71%. So what I'm getting at is the same thing that some of you have addressed to me and brought up, which I think is a very valid point. This is the longest that Bitcoin Cash has lingered without moving like more than 30% to the downside. We've never in Bitcoin Cash's history seen a top that promoted this low of a price drop in this amount of time, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drops here. This is the closest one we've got, but oops, I didn't get the top there. But top to bottom, that's a 35% drop in a 4-week span. Here we are 4 weeks later after the top, and all we've done is at the lowest, we have dropped, I put my high in the wrong place, sorry. We've dropped 29.65%. So this is kind of 29.75% actually. So this is kind of abnormal. But to be fair, we are in abnormal times, and where this is kind of bullish to see this. We're seeing the highest reading in the weekly RSI that we've ever seen, and we've been in the overbought zone for the longest amount of time that Bitcoin Cash has ever been. It's been in the overbought zone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks on a weekly basis. The thing that I want to address is that each time that we've had these drops in the past, these significant drops after the top, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. Maybe we're looking at it from a time perspective when we should look at it at the RSI perspective. These drops happened when we came out of the overbought zone. That's when they happened. 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, okay, that's a good point to make, but here's a side point to that. What if they happened after we dropped out of the overbought zone, right? Here we were in the overbought zone this week at the top. The next week, we dropped out of the overbought zone, and then the week after that, we had a 52% dump. Okay? Here, we topped off right here. The following week, we closed 2% in the red, and we were still in the overbought zone, but the week that took us out of the overbought zone, we had a 34% drop in 1 week. Okay? Whenever we were in the overbought zone here, and we came out of it, it was this week here, right? We dropped 20% in 1 week and proceeded to drop an extra like 23% in the 2 weeks to follow. So what I'm getting at, and you can go back at any of these times we were overbought and just kind of verify the same thing is going on. Have we yet to see the drop, like the real drop for real? And I mean, obviously, if you're with me in my opinion, then that's kind of been the idea this whole time, right? I've taken this low to this high several times and kind of giving you the range which I expect it to go to, which is around like 185 to 135. And the reasons for that is because the lowest, other than one time, Bitcoin Cash went just above its 382, but the lowest that it normally goes is right above the 0.5, and sometimes it goes even to the 786 or 886. But what I'm giving it more is like this 0.5 to the 618 area, and it's very common to go below the 618 to the 0.69, and Bitcoin Cash has actually done that a few times in history. I'm sure, let me see, I'll just pull up an example right here. From bottom to top, you can see right there, we closed above the 618, but we tipped the 69, literally. If you were to take, let's see, this bottom to this top here, I don't know. That one, not so much. Maybe it's this one here. Or actually, let's flip it. Maybe that's what it is. Let's flip it. Flip it, flip it, flip it. We are gonna flip it. Yeah, look at this. Resistance on the 0.69. So that's kind of why, and you can go back and there's more examples than just that, but I don't want to waste you guys' time here. I don't want to waste my time either. It's not a waste of time, but I just feel like it's repetitive. I've gone over that in a few different videos. But that's why, I'm not including the 786 or the 886, because while that has happened a couple times in Bitcoin Cash's history, the more likely range, in my opinion, is between this white line here and that white line at the top there, which is at about 180. I've said 185 just to be kind of conservative, right? I think it's better to be conservative, but I have buy orders right now lined up between 180 and 140. That's kind of where my buy orders are lined up, and I want to actually throw some more, because I think I might actually go a little bit heavier into my position on this thing. But that's the idea I wanted to address, right? Is that we have yet to get, and we have 1 day and 20 hours left in this week, so we're only down 3.4%. In the next day and 24 or 20 hours, can Bitcoin Cash move up 3.4%? It certainly can. Would that take us out of this looking like we're coming out of the overbought zone? It certainly would. So I just want to kind of keep that in mind. We're kind of at a critical point, and we are going to be experiencing territory that we've experienced before, where any time that we've gone out of the overbought zone from being in it, we have had a minimum of a 43% drop. 43% drop from top to bottom. Okay, not from where we are now. So from top to bottom, the minimum drop at 43% would bring us, again, that's right around 188, right around there, 180 or 185, 188, 185, somewhere in there. And it was a little bit over 43% each time. I don't know the exact number, but somewhere around, I guess, 188, 185, somewhere in there. And with a maximum drop, I think that we've seen was like 70-something%, which could take us below the 786 or 886. I do think that we get somewhat of a 50% drop. I think that that's what's in store for us, because that is where the, if it would let me, man, I can't do it, but that's where the 618 and the 0.69 are. The 0.69 is at 135, right? So that's 58%. The 618 is at 143, I believe. which is at 56%. And this would kind of make sense to me, because not only is that line up with the 618, but that's also this kind of topping area that we had before. You would break out, confirm previous areas of resistance as support, and then go from there. You know, that would actually look really nice. But that's just something, you know, at this point I feel like I've got nothing really new to bring to the table, right? We've rejected this 50 twice now, which isn't necessarily a good look, right? If we were to do this, right, we rejected the 50 twice over here. We were rejecting it a few times over here. Let's look at what we were doing back then. Kind of feels familiar, right? We were moving sideways, and then we had a dramatic flush down. It wasn't dramatic, really. You know, this was dramatic, but it was more dramatic than anything we'd seen so far, and that's what I think is in store for us. I do think that we're going to see a drop that's bigger than anything we've seen so far in this range. Is it going to be a drop that takes us all the way down here? No. I mean, it could, but I doubt that we see that in a day, right? Is it a drop that's going to take us below this low? I've already said that a few times. I don't think we're going lower than this low. I would actually be very surprised if we went below 135, which is right where this dashed line kind of is, right there, you know. So I do expect this previous topping area to hold as support. Maybe we go below this high here, but that's okay. That's at 145. I doubt that we go too much below 135 if we even get down there. So overall, I don't know. The daily RSI looks bearish to me. Definitely watch for this weekly close, which is in a day and 20 hours from now. If we close out of the overbought zone, I think we finally might be seeing some legs on this thing. On the 4-hour time frame, it's not really, it's neutral, I would say. Kind of neutral. It's kind of ugly. It's been neutral for a while, but wouldn't you know it, so has the price. So that kind of makes sense. Looking at the 1 hour, 1 hour doesn't look as good. It's not so neutral. It's actually more bearish, I would say. So we might see a move down today or tomorrow, but who knows if it'll be significant. Maybe we're waiting for next week before we actually get our significant move. Maybe we end this week bearishly. I don't know. But one way or another, what I am expecting, just to wrap it all up in a pretty bow, is the same old, guys. I'm expecting us to keep moving down. I don't think we're done yet. And where are we going to go? Anywhere between 185 and 135. That's the range I'm giving it. Likely, in my opinion, I think that we're more likely to go toward like the 135 to 155 area. That's kind of my expectation. And you know, if you've made it this far, if you're still here in the video, pay attention to this area too, because I think even with as bullish or bearish as I am, I think this area, this 200 area, is worth taking into consideration, and it should be looked at. And just because we bounce off of it does not mean that it's go time. You'd want to get a bounce and then a break above the 236. If you bounce and then reject, it is definitely not go time, and I would say it's even more likely that we'd go down to the 618 if we presented something like this. We might not even do that. We might just move straight down. Who knows? But this area, one way or another, I think around 200 to 205 is an area to watch. Still, ultimately, I do think we go down somewhere in this area. And you know, who knows how long that'll take. I kind of expected that we would have made that move by now, but you know, as everybody was saying, we've been doing this a little bit longer than average, and the one thing that's different compared to everything else besides the price is the fact that the RSI is still in the overbought zone, and now finally this week we're getting out of it. So will we see our resolution because of that? That's kind of the theory I'm going along with right now. So it fits the narrative. It makes sense to me. It might not happen. We are only 3.4% away from the week being green, which would then promote a bounce off of this overbought zone, which would actually be very bullish. So we are at critical moments. I think that it is important to watch this weekly close, and I will keep you guys up to date on that if you're not keeping yourselves up to date on that. So if you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more. Very much appreciate all you guys. I hope you had a good time, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.